Hi guys, welcome back to Inherent Success Podcast. I'm really excited for this episode because I have my good friend and my coach, Matt, for today's episode. How are you doing, Matt?
Doing really well, really well. Busy. We're coming back from Pittsburgh, so
yes,
that was
I
a
saw
battle.
that.
Well, I'm sure we'll get into that a little bit, but
how does that feel, getting a new pro on
Amazing.
your team?
It was needed. You know, I feel like last year, we got Dustin's, and then we just haven't got one since. We really were close with you, but it feels really good to get another one on the team, for sure.
Yeah, that's amazing. It was so exciting to see that shit.
Yep.
It was really good. I'm really happy for Jen. She looks amazing.
Yeah.
And that's awesome that you're able to get another pro under your belt. That's amazing.
Thank God, 3 now. So
yeah. So amazing, guys. So just to give you guys a little background, Matt is not only my good friend, but he's also my competition coach, and he is making massive impact in our city, Sarasota. So kind of to take you back, Matt, so just to share a little bit about yourself, like how long have you been living in Sarasota, to give you a little backstory?
Yeah, so a little backstory. So I've actually been in Florida my whole life. A lot of people don't know. There's not a lot of Floridians here. I don't think you're one of them, right?
I am.
You've been in Florida forever? Yeah, yes. So there's not a lot of us, but I've been in Florida my whole life. I was in West Palm Beach for probably the first 5-6 years. Then I moved to Okeechobee, actually, in the boonies, and that was fun. I lived in a little trailer out there, and then I came to Sarasota when I was 11 years old. Actually went to Northport first for 2 years, came to Sarasota, and the rest is history. So I love Sarasota. It's the best spot in the world. So if you guys are watching this from out, you want to move to Sarasota, it's the place. And I fly all over the country, and Sarasota is by far the best I've ever seen. So
I agree. I'm originally from Miami, as you know. I've explained that before. I grew up there, born and raised, and there's nothing like Sarasota. And it's a small city. I always say it's a small city by the water, but it's just definitely a place to come and visit and see. So to kind of take you a little back, your story.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah. So how did, growing up, when did you start working out? Like, give us a little bit of your background going into the fitness world.
Okay. I've always had like a very, very, very big like competitive edge to me. Ever since I was young, I've always played football. I played baseball since I was pretty much 3 years old, T-ball, 3, 4, 5. Started playing football, played 13 years of football, 11 years of baseball. People don't know that. I was extremely good. I always started. I was always good, but I was always one of the small guys, always one of the small guys. I was the smallest kid on my team every time, but I always started. I always had the biggest heart, right? I was the kid running up and down the field when somebody's running for a touchdown and other kids are just sitting there not doing anything. So that was a big part of my life, football, baseball. Coming into bodybuilding, my family's hardcore Italians, right? Big ass guys, very masculine, very big, very manly. And my uncle always worked out, right? He was always really big. My grandpa always worked out, still works out to this day. He does the same thing every morning. Literally wakes up, goes and does his little 30-minute workout and goes. And the guy's like almost 80 something right now. Maybe don't quote me on that. I don't know. They get old quick. Time flies by. But he's like 80 something. And he just continuously shows discipline in that. So coming up, I really wanted to kind of be like them, I guess you could say, right? And when I entered high school, I pretty much got bullied a lot in high school. People might see me now, like, damn, this guy's decent looking, right? He's got all this muscle, but
scary
looking, right? Whatever. Well, that's something that I wanted to portray, I guess, as I was going. I always knew what person I wanted to look like, what person I wanted to be. But when I was getting in high school, I was small. I was 4'11", 100. I actually have a paperwork when I was in 9th grade.
You were 4'11"?
I was 4'11" when I entered high school.
Wow.
103 pounds. I have a dentist report actually from my 9th grade. 103 pounds. And people are like, how the hell did this guy turn from 9th grade to that to 11th grade, this absolute monster? And it's because of bullying. Honestly, we need to bring back bullying because I got bullied a lot, and that made me, really like a little angry little bastard, like that fit in perfectly with bodybuilding. So I always knew that I couldn't get into training too early. So I waited till I was 14, did weightlifting class in school. I was one of the strongest kids. Even though I was super small, I was very, very strong. I've always been really strong. So I did that, and everything else is pretty much history. 14 years old, started working out. Did my first bodybuilding show when I was 23. I never missed a day. I never missed 2 days consecutive in the gym since I was 14 years old. 14 years old, 5 days a week, no matter what. Like, I was always 7 days a week. I would probably count. There were some years where I may have not went to the gym 5 days out of the 365 days. So I'm very disciplined. And then obviously, I went everything else. So yeah, that was kind of a little bit of my childhood though.
Yeah. So when it comes to transformational stories, right? Like there's always that one moment in your life where that pivotal moment, that difficult time that not only was it challenging, but it inspired you to get into whatever you're currently doing. That can be like business, or it gave you that inspiration, right? And for everyone it's different in different cases. So in this case, you explained that it was the bullying. It was the people bothering you and making you feel small. So do you say that that's like your pivotal moment that got you inspired to get into fitness? So elaborate a little bit more on that.
Yeah, I think that most people who are bodybuilders now got bullied in high school. Like 90% of them probably got bullied, right? Something, exactly what you said, they have that pivotal moment where they got picked on, they got bullied, maybe family abuse, something like that, where it triggered something in them and they found like solace in working out and bodybuilding, right? So I was very angry, actually, a kid. When anger management, my mom sent me to anger management, got the cops called on me once, because I was just a little shit and I was just too angry. But I had to use that and like put that into something. But even like, I was bullied a lot. People don't know this. I don't think people understand how much I was bullied, because I was 4'11" going into high school. Everyone's 5'4", 5'5". Some guys are 5'10". Some guys are over 6 foot in ninth grade, right? So I got really picked on. I was always like the small kid, always getting picked on. Always like, oh, you're too small for this, too small for that. And even like I found like my best friends were picking on me because I was so small. And I think something just fueled me, man. Like, I don't know. I can't really explain it. I guess you could say that was a really big moment where I was like, I'm done being small. Like, no one's going to ever tell me I'm small again. And then that just really, pushed in. And I was always like, to be honest, I was a little fighter, running around fighting people and just doing some stupid shit. But I was always a really good kid. I knew like when I could fight, where I could fight, and not get in trouble, right? And like, I was never stupid, never touched drugs. Actually, this day I've never touched a drug, never smoked a single cigarette, never smoked anything. I've never smoked anything. The only thing I did drink a little bit. Who doesn't, right? When they're like 18, 19. I did drink a little bit, but I've been super like strict on that. So anyone who got in my life who they were smoking pot or they were even drinking too much, I just cut them out. I've had best friends that I've cut out because of that. And a lot of it was because I had this look that I wanted to be and this person that I wanted to become at such a young age. Like, I wanted to be a big ass, scary motherfucker with tattoos. Like, don't fuck with me, because I don't want to have to, I already got so much bullying in the past. I'll never handle that again. So, yes.
No, I agree. And it comes down to turning your pain into power.
Yep.
Because a lot of situations like that, and this is where becoming competence comes in. So building that confidence for yourself by, okay, I don't know how to work out. Maybe I looked a certain way, but you're using those situations as like fuel to like, okay, you know what? I may not be where I want to be yet, but I'm going to get there.
Exactly.
So a lot of times it's like, I always say it's a blessing in disguise. And you can use those moments to really push you and fire you up and like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get better. Like,
Yeah.
So I love that. So take us a little back when you started bodybuilding. So how did that come into place? Who introduced you into bodybuilding?
So,
elaborate more on that.
Back in the day, there was no YouTube. There was none of that shit. It was just like, you just seen somebody who was big and you just wanted to be like that person. So I've always like, in ninth grade, I went to high school and I always seen big ass kids. And I was like, man, I want to be like that guy. Like, I want to look, he's getting all the girls. Like, he's got a six pack. So when I was actually, I'll get back even more than that. When I was 11 years old, right, I always knew like the girls love the abs, whatever. Like, girls wanted a guy with a six pack. That's how it was when you're 11 years old, right? So I literally, guys, I did 8-minute abs every day for a year straight at 11 years old. Every day. I had not a fucking day off. And then until I had a six pack. And that was 11 years old. So I already had a six pack. I never lost it since I was 11 years old, right? And I was a big skater. Actually, didn't think I'd get into that. I like fruit boot, like rollerblades. I used to go to the skate park every day when I was doing my 8-minute abs. So I go to the skate park for 3-4 hours all day long, maybe more than that if I could, but it was shut down at 9. I get off school, go there for maybe 6 hours, do my 8-minute abs, pass out. So I had a really good physique when I was like 12, but I was just small. And then I guess we'll get back to the question, like when I started getting into bodybuilding, I don't even know. Like, I just started doing it. I always knew that I wanted to work out because my uncle worked out, my grandpa worked out. I always knew. So there was a weightlifting class, and they're not allowed to do weightlifting class until 14 years old. I think it was 9th grade, or I think it was 14 when I was in 9th grade. So I did weightlifting class first. And then first it was about strength, and then it was about, wow, how do I want to look, right? And then you always see like the bigger guys in high school getting all the girls that are doing way better. Like, they just seem like they're doing better, right? They weren't probably, but again, I think that was just me as a young kid just trying to aspire to be something different, and I was so small. So I just pushed towards that, man. And I don't know. I mean, that's just, there's really nothing else to say. I don't know how I really got into it. It was just one of those things where my best friend at the time, we just did it together. Every day we did it together. And we just woke up in the morning we'd wake up at like 5 in the morning and go work out. 5 in the morning before school. Or like in between school. If we had weightlifting class, I'd work out twice a day. And I did that shit at 14 years old all the way to really now. So this is actually the longest I've took a break from bodybuilding is recently. I mean, there's times where I do 2 days. I'm still on that, guys. I still have not took more than 2 days off consecutively, and I will never do it for my entire life. So
yeah. Yep. And it's interesting because you started bodybuilding at such a young age, and not a lot of people have cultivated that type of discipline just yet. So as you know, with bodybuilding, bikini, any division, it's a very, very complex sport. It's very hard. It's like, it's not 1 foot in, 1 foot out. It's like when you do it, you're all in.
Gotta be all in.
Exactly. So it takes a level of discipline. It takes a level of consistency. It takes a level of just like that willpower to really get into bodybuilding. So with your first show, like, how was that experience for you? I
mean, it was good, but it taught me so much of like self-discipline. Like, as you know, like you have to be so strict. And the thing is, I didn't even have a coach, right? You're so lucky that you hired me and like you had a coach to teach you. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. So I would say I did good, but I didn't know the suffering that it took until 2020. Until I won my overall, 2021. So I won my overall. Then I realized, because I didn't know when I was 23 years old. I knew when I was fucking 28, right? I knew, I did the research. I've been in the sport for 5 years now. I've already coached a couple people. So I knew the suffering that I needed to take. And again, like people try to shy away from suffering. I embrace the suffering. I have no problem suffering. Throw me to the wolves. I have no problem. Like even with Dustin, like when he coached me, like I didn't go a gram under or over my entire prep. And I don't know many people that can say that. Like not even a fucking gram. I'll take the gram off. I would do it. And I think that a lot of people, when they do things in life, they don't do it 100%. And that's why they're never going to win. You're going to half-ass things your whole life and you're never going to win. And I did, and I still lost, but at least I gave 100%, you know?
Exactly. So. And I love what Layla Hormozi said one time. I got this from her, is the desire of your dreams for tomorrow is in the discomfort today.
Pretty much.
And you have to be willing to learn how to be in that discomfort. And especially that applies to honestly anything in life. Whatever you do in life that's new or you're going for something, you have to be willing to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yep, everything.
Yeah,
everything.
With everything. Yeah, you have to be willing to do that. I love that. So now let's take it back a little bit more. So with your team, with what you've created in the community, you're making such a big impact.
Trying to.
From what I've seen. No, you're doing it. You're doing it. So how did you start your bodybuilding team? Like how did you start Team Warrior Aesthetics? Like how did all that started?
So in 2020, we all know, COVID came, shut down the country. Obviously, you guys know where I'm at on that. Like I didn't want to be shut down, but I didn't know anything about politics at all. I don't even fucking care, but I didn't know anything about politics at that point. And when we shut down, I was like, who the fuck has the power for me? I was a server at that time, right? I was serving. I coached a little bit on the side, but I wasn't full time into it, right? And when we shut down, I was like, how the hell are they going to shut us down and me not to make money, but I still have to fucking pay my bills? So after that point right there, I knew for a fact that I had to do my own thing. It was the best thing that ever happened to me. You want to talk about that moment, dude? That was the moment for me because I realized that the government, right, can just shut you down and tell you can't work, but then you see Walmart open, you see all these big corporations open, but I can't make money to put the food on my family, for my family. Like, it didn't make sense to me. So once everything opened back up, I knew that I had to make a switch. And actually 2021, January, I told myself that I'd start one-on-one personal training, right? In 2021. So I started training in person and it quickly evolved, immediately. Like I just had such a big traction. And this is why it's so important, guys. When you start a business, you have to be really stern on what you do, and you can't do 1,000 little things because you'll lose credibility. Me, when I came in, that was the first thing I've done, right? Everyone knew I was worked out. Everyone always asked me for help, but I always told people, I just do a little bit of online coaching. But I went 0 to 100, and within pretty much 6 weeks, I went from no money, pretty much in January, right, to over $100,000 a year on paper after a month. Now, obviously, I didn't make that in a month, but I grossed over, I think it was like $14K within like 6 weeks. So that was like my 6-week thing, or every month. Does that make sense? So quickly evolved for me. And then of course, sky's the limit after that. I never think long-term. I just keep taking it as it comes. Like when I first got the first coach on, I never thought I'd get a second coach or a third coach. And I never thought I would get a second client and a third client. I remember sitting down because I have videos of me just being like, man, if I could just get 10 clients, like if I could just get 10 fucking clients, I would be so happy. And now I'm upwards of almost 100 clients now. A lot of people in the off season, like you're in the off season, right? upwards of probably more than 100 clients at this point, and it's so crazy to think, man, back in the day when I made those videos, so people don't understand, if you just stay disciplined to one thing, you're going to be successful. You have to stay fucking disciplined, man. People, when it doesn't work, most people give up. Most people switch. They'll, let me try something else. And it takes a different person to be like, you know what, I know it didn't work this week, but I'm going to keep going. And I got very lucky. But again, if I would have started earlier in my business, like earlier when I was like 22, even though I did start online coaching, I just didn't do it full time, right? Mm-hmm. I built my name up slowly in the community. So when I came out, it was immediate traction, and pretty much sky's the limit. So as far as building the team and everything, like I said, I just took it one client at a time. One client at a time. I never thought in a million years, we'd have the community we have now. I didn't think about it. It just took one person. It took one person, and that person got someone else, or I got another person, introduced them. And then, of course, now we have a huge network of amazing people on the team where it's just this community where everyone's uplifting each other, right? Bodybuilding is such an individual sport, and it's I've never seen this done before, to be honest with you. I've been doing this a long time. I've been in this world a long time. You go back and look at Kaya Green, Phil Heath, all these people, they're very solo, right? Everyone's very solo. You look at our team, Dustin, even Dustin is a pro, has all of us to have his back. Jen has all of us to have his back. You have everyone to help you out when you're coming up, right? And you're going to help people that are coming up as well. So it's just big community, man. It's been awesome to see, for sure.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I loved how you explained how you were like, I don't know how I'm going to get there. I'm just going to get there. Mm-hmm. Because it's not about the how, it's just getting to that point.
Yeah.
And that's where like the manifestation comes in. And maybe you're not woo-woo, but like that's just, the power of manifestation and affirming, like, hey, like I'm going to make this happen. I don't know how, but it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And most people quit because once it gets hard, that's it. They quit and they're done.
Exactly.
But what people don't understand, and for those of you guys that are listening as well, is that it's really important to just go through the trenches. Mm-hmm. Like it's going to be extremely uncomfortable, but just be willing to just make mistakes, be willing to fail, because you're not really failing, you're just leveling up as you're building your business.
Exactly.
I love that. And also the camaraderie that you've been able to cultivate within Team Warrior Aesthetics. Like it's amazing. It's true, because when I was new and I started, I didn't know anyone. And I remember just being there the first few check-ins, like Dahlia letting me her heels, like here, go, you got this, girl. And then like Raven motivating me and Tati motivating me, just like everyone like really being there for each other. And it's true, you don't see that in the community a lot. It's just a lot, like you said, it is a very individual sport. So when you're involved in a community where everyone can just support each other, it's a beautiful thing to see.
It's definitely a beautiful thing. And I think that we could touch base on like a lot of the failures I've had too.
Exactly, because that's what I was going to get to.
I think that people don't understand how many failures you're going to go through in your life to get one good thing. And all you need is that one thing. And this was my one thing, right? Like I couldn't tell you how many businesses I thought of and tried and did. And like, really, I started a TV business. People don't know this, but like I have a TV business that I've had for the past 8 years. It's never failed. It's still successful. But there's been a lot of not successful businesses that I've started. And I think people also, even though I say stay disciplined on one thing, you have to face reality. Sometimes the thing you're doing is not the thing for you. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So I used to stream on Fortnite, right? And I got 107,000 followers, bunch of things, right? I'm like, oh my God, I'm opening up this awesome clothing line, right? I'm gonna be this big famous Twitch streamer. I'm gonna open up this clothing line. So I spent my only money, I think it was like $2,000. I bought all these clothes. And I figured, okay, I got 105,000 followers, 107,000 followers. Like I gotta at least get, if 1% buys, I'm making $5,000, right? If I double my profit, right? So I launched everything, did everything the best I could. I sold like 2 shirts, right? I still have that $2,000 worth of apparel in my house right now, guys. And I knew very quick that this isn't gonna work, right? So I think people also need to face reality. Like you can't just say this is gonna work and then just do it and you have to face fucking reality. Like sometimes shit don't fucking work. Sometimes it's just not the thing for you, and you have to learn how to stop wasting time there and move the hell on. But I do think that it's a very case by case and individualistic thing, because I think there's a lot of people who have a great business that if they just focused on that, wow, it could be sky's the limit, but people give up. But then again, there's people who focus too long on the shitty thing and you're taken away from the things that can be. So it's a very hard, you just gotta be real with yourself,
Yeah, and success is gonna take you through different routes. I truly believe that, because when I was 21, I started my first business venture and I was in an MLM, I was a coach, like I did all these things. But after so many years, I held on to that business idea for so long, but realized that it just wasn't working out and it was just not in alignment with my purpose and my goals. And you just, like I said, like you go through different paths and until you find the right thing for you. do. So like, let's go take a little bit back to the failure aspect. So what would you say was like the most difficult time, the most difficult time that you had to overcome with starting your business and building yourself up, basically, because we all go through hardships, we all go through different things. So what was that strong moment that you got to overcome?
Yeah. So, you know, I am the person that if you tell me I can't do it, I'm going to prove you wrong. And I'm not only going to prove you wrong, I'm going to make you beg me to join me, like at the end, right? And that's what I've always like strived, like that's my biggest furnace is people talking shit. So when I first started my business, man, there was like 3 coaches in town, all talking shit. And to be honest with you, I probably didn't know what the fuck I was doing back then. I think I did, but there's a lot of things that I said that I look back on, I'm like, oh, that was fucking retarded, right? Like I didn't know what I was talking about. And I can confidently admit that because I think every coach when they first got started, they're not gonna know everything. So there were certain things I said that I probably regret. But anyway, I was getting such a big backlash of people, especially after I turned to Alice pro. That was a big one for me. I turned her pro and they even doubled down and said I'm even more of a shitty coach for that, right? It was really weird. So I think the failure and the setbacks, you know, that's all one thing, but the amount of shit talking that comes from, you know, bodybuilding and the community in general before I started doing my own thing was massive. Like coaches hated each other. If you're a coach, they hate you because you're going to steal their business, right? So I got a lot of shit, man. Like really, I would say the one thing that really motivated the fuck out of me, there was this guy, he calls himself like the classical guy or classical kid or something, right? Hit me on Instagram, randomly talking shit. I have screenshots, randomly talking shit, saying you're going to bring marshmallow conditioning, you're shit, you shouldn't talk, whatever, all this bullshit, right? And whatever he said in that moment really triggered something in me to be like, you know what? I'm going to prove all these guys wrong. Like, you guys want to talk shit? I'm going to prove everybody wrong. And I did that, and now they're still talking shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, still fucking talking shit. I mean, I'm going to call him, I don't give a shit. Dominic Fancy, you know, he actually posted Susie and my girl Brittany, right, on the team. They went up on stage. They said, oh, Susie beat Brittany, right? Susie, and he pretty much was like, oh, shout all you Warriors pretty much losing today. Susie's the clear winner, right? Susie actually got second, but why am I even in your mouth anymore? You know, so that right there fueled me so much in the beginning of my career where I wanted to be successful and I wanted to prove people wrong. And I function off negativity. Like all the positivity is great, right? People are like, oh my God, Matt, you do so good. Congratulations. That's all fine, but tell me I'm going to lose. Tell me I'm not going to fucking make it. Tell me I can't go, I'm not faster than you. I'm going to be faster than you. I'm going to find it in my soul to somehow be faster than you or do more. And that right there is what my, like, that's what fuels my fire, is that. So.
Yeah. And like they say, if you don't have enough haters, you're not doing enough. You're
Exactly.
not doing big things. I believe in that, you know, and what it comes down to at the end of the day is people, one, they're projecting how they feel about themselves towards you, and that's how I see it. And then another is people like to criticize other people or put people down. That's just a justification of what they're not willing to do.
Exactly.
So when people hate or when they judge you is because at the end of the day, they're not really doing things for themselves. So that's why, you know, they want to point fingers and like project all of that crap on you. No, and you, like I said, you've been doing amazing things. So what are your biggest goals? Where do you see yourself with Team Warrior Aesthetics?
So, you know, the more people ask me that question, which I get that question a lot, my answer is pretty much always the same. You know, like I have goals and I think that they're going to be accomplished, but I also think that I take it day by day. You know, I'm very realistic with my coaching style now, what I want to do with the business, because in the beginning of my career, I hired on like 5 coaches. The problem was I didn't have enough coming in to really give them 5 coaches business, to be honest with you. So again, I wanted to really build our name, and I think a lot of people in this sport, they come in and they don't realize how much work needs to go into just building your fucking name before credibility, right? Build credibility before. So I kind of made a mistake and hired too many people, so I had to kind of, you know, some of them left, some of them had to separate from, and I pretty much started with just Raven and Dustin, and I built them up really heavily now, where their name is very solid in this town. And now we got Jen on, of course, right? Very solid name. She's a pro, thank God. You know, we needed that. But if we're just going to be what I want out of the business, right? I did hire a social media guy to start taking over my business. It's very expensive, but I think it's worth the risk because you have to invest in your business, right? So I hired him. We're doing pretty much 30 reels a month on all the platforms. So he's going to start building that. So eventually it'll be awesome to get, you know, 50 fucking thousand a month coming in off just social media. Is it possible? I mean, people are doing it. You know, I just talked to my buddy Red Vines the other day. he's making a great living off of just TikTok alone. Just TikTok alone. We're talking, great living. Great. As much money as I'm making coaching right now, he's making on fucking TikTok. So I want to build my social media up. Not only that, to be able to reach more people. Build a name, build Warrior Aesthetics a little bit more. I think eventually 20, 30, 40 coaches would be freaking phenomenal. Could you imagine? Like all over the country, get Jose to open up something over there, right? I think a gym, supplement line, those are more on my back end because I think I'm a big believer of like not having too much expenses, right? Like I don't want to have a million expenses, I don't want to have a bunch of overhead. Like in my business right now, I don't have much overhead. I do pay monthly to be able to one-on-one train places. $50 a month, let's be honest, right? $50 a month. That's the only overhead I have in my business. So that's why I invested a lot into my marketing now and my to the social media guy, because I'm like, okay, I'm not investing there. I'm going to invest into here. So just continue to build me. So I don't know, man. It's just, we're taking it one day at a time. All I know is I want to be like, I don't want to retire. I just want to be so well off when I'm 40 that I don't have to think anymore. I just can do what I love. And that's what I love, is I love coaching, right? And as we grow, I'm sure, I'm going to have to get to a point where I can only take pros or only take high level amateurs. But again, I have no problem just being an amateur coach. Someone who just turns amateurs pro. I have no problem with that because I actually love that journey.
It's a great transformation too.
I love it. Exactly. Because look at you, you've never even thought about bodybuilding until you came to me. Maybe you did, but you never really knew much about it. Came to me, we were one spot away, guys, from pretty much the pro card. So, dude, we were like right there, and that journey is fun. Like that's what fuels me. That is what really, enhances like my ability to want to do it again and again and again, because seeing your transformation from, where we were, just the transformation video alone, fuck the placing, just the video alone is like, wow, we did that shit.
All right, guys, we'll get right back into the episode. I just wanted to take a quick break here to share with you guys that I do not make any money on this podcast. My goal and my purpose with Inherent Success is to be that guide for individuals in their self-discovery journey. So if you found any value in this episode, make sure to like, to subscribe. And if you know anyone that could benefit from the episode or the podcast overall, you can share with a friend as well. Now, let's get back into it. Yeah. And I guess we can talk a little bit more about being a coach and what makes a good coach, because not everyone can be a coach.
Nope.
You have to.
Nope.
Being a coach requires not only the knowledge, the education, how to do it, but you gotta have the passion to help people. If you're not passionate about helping people, you should not be a coach.
No.
I've heard people get they're doing follow-ups, and I've heard people get responses 3 days later.
Yeah.
That is, I guess we can comment on that, but
so
if you can kind of share what is when you're looking for a coach, starting your fitness journey or even competition, what is the importance of behind being a coach?
It's passion, period. Plain and simple, passion. Because in the beginning of my career, again, I didn't know everything. I still don't know everything. I'm still learning, right? But I didn't know a lot what I know now. And it's the passion that if I didn't care enough, I would have never had, Dustin Pro, Alice Pro. It would have never happened. I would have never had Gem Pro. If the passion isn't there, you're not going to give a shit. There was times where I cannot tell you how much money I've lost on just those 3 pro cards alone. We're talking over $30,000. 100%, over 30 grand on just those 3 pro cards alone. And think about, okay, even if they paid me $500 a month, I'm still fucking negative today on just the 3 pro cards alone. So think about it, it's unbelievable on how much passion you need to be great at anything in this world, because people will see right through the bullshit. If you're not passionate about it, you're not going to be able to be confident about it, right? And I think that's another reason why I stopped Twitch streaming, right? Because the passion just faded. And once the passion fades, you're done. And even now, I'm getting to the point where I'm getting really busy, where I'm trying to put things in place where I can always have that passion, which obviously I do, right? I don't think it's ever going to lose, but it's about having passion too. And the people that you don't think, that most people won't think is going to be great, I see passion in them, right? I see potential in them. I see potential, and the passion that I have drives that. And then I think that's why we're seeing a lot of these people, when I coach them, they transform, because I give a shit. I care about the little people, right? A lot of these people, they hire the wrong coach, man. And, for one, let's just say he didn't know what he's talking about. I just took on a guy recently where he has one of the best coaches in the game, right? Shit plan. absolute shit plan. I was like, how, you're 7 weeks out and this is what you're doing, this is what you're eating. So it's just lack of care. A lot of coaches, or they get too busy. You know, they get too busy where they just don't give a shit anymore. So.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's definitely a huge factor, the passion. And I've seen that in you with your athletes, even with me, like you care, you pay attention to the details, like the passion is there.
Yep.
And that's really important when, you know, you're looking to become a coach. Like, it's not just about the money and grabbing people's money. It's like knowing what you're doing, really caring about that client and getting them to their goals, because the transformation, tell me that doesn't feel good.
Feels fucking good. Yeah, it feels good. Yeah.
I bet it does, because when I've seen you post your transformations, I'm like, holy shit, that is, wow, that's amazing.
Yep.
No, I love that. I love that. So when it comes to competition, finding a competition coach, even like a lifestyle coach, like what do you think are like the main factors that people should pay attention to?
I think that the main factors is, for one, you know, credibility I think is important, right? But in the beginning, I didn't even have a lot of credibility. I just started. So like, and I'm a great fucking coach, right? So I think it's you got to make sure the coach cares. You have to make sure that, you know, they're not just in it for the money. You're making sure that they're not in your DMs. If the coach goes in your DMs, that is the first red flag. Do not hire that guy. I've never once been in anyone's DMs ever in my entire career. I've never once been like, hey, you should have me coach you. That's not a possibility, right? That's not even an option for me. Even when I first started out, yes, I needed clients. I want money, fine. But I'm not going to go shark clients. It's just desperate. Like desperate. If a coach is desperate, you run for the fucking hills. That's a big one. I think, again, we could talk about just basic shit. Late check-ins. How quick are they to respond to you, right? Like even now, like I'm starting to get busy enough where like if they don't submit check-ins on time, I don't fucking respond. Like I'm gonna be honest with you, I just don't do it, because if you can't wake up every day and give me check-ins on my day that I fucking need, like then you're just showing me that you're not making it a priority. So why should I make your priority, right? So I think there does come a point where you can get a really good coach, but if you're slacking as an athlete and you're slacking as a client, you're not being fucking communicating, you're not being communicative with your coach, and you're not getting your check-in on time, you're not doing shit, your coach will lose, 100% will lose passion for you. I guarantee you, because I am like that. Like, I'm just human, right? If I want to give you 100% and you're giving me 15%, I'm going to go down to the 15. So I think that's the thing if you actually have a coach. But, you know, I think try to find someone who you like, you know, go on Instagram, follow them for a while. I have a lot of ghost followers, right, that follow me for years before they hire me. They're like, oh, wow, I love what you do. It took me a year and a half to reach out, but I finally did, and let's get something going. That happens every time, all the time. I would say 85% of my people have been following me for years before they even hire me. So, and you have to be, you know, and also don't be a fucking asshole. Like, don't be an asshole. Don't be posting stupid ass shit. Like this, why do you fucking think these people are fucking not successful in this industry? Like, why do you think these local coaches are shit? Like, you're running around talking shit about me. It makes you look bad. Like, it doesn't make sense. You're not even just me. You're talking shit about every athlete in town. You're telling me that people don't talk and that shit gets back to you? Like, this is why you guys aren't successful. And this is why I'm going to keep getting successful. And Big Serve is going to keep getting successful, because we're only focusing on our athletes. You have to focus on your people and everything else will come. So
that's just part of being ethical too. You know what I mean? Like going back to the whole DMing thing, it's just, to me, that's just not being ethical. I feel like once you know your worth as a coach and what kind of value you get to provide to the community and to people out there, like you don't have to, it's true, you don't have to really chase people. People just watch what you do, and that attracts more people. Like for me, like I love a coach that is just like so authentic, so passionate in what they're doing. Like that attracts me. So I would go for that coach. I wouldn't go for like a coach that's like DMing people and like
hey Emma, you look awesome. What do you think about me training you? Like, no.
Yeah, I've never gotten that, so it's okay. But
you will, trust me, you will. Don't worry.
All right, well, we'll see once we get that pro card.
Then you get the pro card, then it just starts. Then everyone's in your DMs. So.
Yeah. So what's the importance also, of course, like picking the right coach, but for your team, like what is important that you look for in someone that wants to be a coach and part of your team? Because the community and what you have built is so important. And I know we've talked about that before, keeping that positivity, keeping that good vibe. So, and that can be with clients too. Like, have you ever had to make the decision of like letting go a client because it's just the relationship was not good?
100%.
Or coaches? Explain a little bit about that.
You know, it's hard, man. Like, I'm such a nice guy, dude. I really am I will fight to the death for the people that like I believe in and I love, but there comes a point where I've been burned a lot in my business already. And we could touch a little bit on that. I've been burned a lot. You know, again, I got really fucked over by one coach when I first started. I built him up, and And that really put me behind. That put me back. So I think I learned a lot about trusting people and who to trust and who not to trust, right? And who to bring on, who not to bring on. Because I think quality is more important than quantity. And I realized that in the beginning of my business. I had 7 coaches. Who gives a shit? Nobody hires them, right? So I took my time with Raven. That was an easy one because, you know, again, I think she's very coachable. Raven has always been very coachable, right? She'll listen to me. Like, so when she has a client problem, she'll reach out to me and I'm teaching her. So now I don't even need to talk to Raven. She knows what the fuck she's doing, right? Dustin, whole different scenario, right? He's been doing this for so long, so it's such an easy pull. Dustin, you know, he has the body. He obviously turned pro. He wanted to be a part of the community. He wanted to build his name, and we've done that, right? And I think that was an easy choice. Jen is an absolute machine, and I am so honored to have her on the team. And it's, out of all the coaches, she works the fucking hardest. And I'm just gonna be honest, like that's just what it is. This girl's posting more than I'm posting, right? And that's the biggest thing is you need to be posting. Right now, it's all about social media, right? Jen has mastered the art of social media. She knows how to post, when to post, and she has the fucking discipline to actually get her ass up and go get fucking content. Like, you know how hard it is to get people just to get fucking content. Like, it's extremely difficult. Even me, guys, I'm so busy where I have to like seriously make time in my schedule to go get content for this guy. It's been tough. So I think that's a big one. I think Jen was such an easy fix. Now, as far as other coaches, you know, bringing them on the team, I'm not saying I'm going to be picky, but again, I'm going to be picky because I want Warrior Aesthetics coaches to be hardcore as shit and know what they're doing and be very passionate, right? You look at Raven, you look at Dustin, look at Dustin. He is very passionate about this. I'm not going to lie. When he comes backstage, I mean, he loves every minute of it. Jen, unbelievable passion. So I think if their passion's there and they're coachable, now we're talking. So, and they have to prove it. Like, they have to prove what they're doing, right? Raven's been doing this forever. Dustin's been doing this just as long as me, probably. Same with Jen. She's been doing this since she was a kid. So, well, younger, right? Powerlifting. So it was an easy choice. So what other question do you have for me? I forgot.
A client. So with customers,
yes, okay.
like, have you ever, so also with customers too, like I'm sure I've been in situations when, you know, before when I was coaching, I had to end some relationships or like end the coaching relationship because it just wasn't a good fit. They weren't committed, things like that. Like, hey, like, I don't think this is it's the right fit because, you know, of like having those tough conversations with those people. So have you ever had to had tough conversations with like competitors, clients?
Yeah. 2 people, 1 lifestyle client and 1 competitor. So what happened was, I'm going to be honest. So this really, really fat guy, I transformed him, lost 100 pounds. When I started one-on-one personal training, I just wanted some people, right? And at that point, you know, I was making my prices and he was kind of complaining about $40 an hour, which now is, oh my God, I wouldn't even step foot in the door for $40 an hour. But so I'm like, I'm gonna give you a deal. You're my first client. You've been with me for a long time. $15 an hour. I'll train you $15 an hour 5 days a week. So he's paying me what, like $70 a fucking week or something like that. And so he was, long story short, he was sitting there and he said something like, his business was suffering. The guy goes on vacations once a month, right? And his business was really suffering, like he was negative. And I'm like, dude, like, you know, I know you got a vacation scheduled for next month. Why don't you just cancel that, save a little bit of money, bro, put you ahead. He's like, oh, well, I'm not going to do that. And he said something along the lines of like, you're too poor to do it or something like that. Like, you're poor to go on vacation. Don't try to take my vacation away from me or something like that. In like the nicest, meanest way he said that. And so I had to drop him because it was just disrespectful. I'm like, dude, I'm charging you $15 a fucking hour. The reason why I can't go on vacation is because I'm charging you $15 an hour, you piece of shit. So I dropped him. I was very, very, I don't know exactly what he said, but it triggered me. Another client cursed at me a few times. And I've only ever dropped 2 clients in my entire career. So I couldn't do it, dude. I couldn't do it. Like, when people curse at me, like, I can't do it. So there has to be a level of respect in this sport where I will never curse at an athlete and the athlete can never curse at me. And they could do it once and I'll have a talk with them, but then after that, never again. They're off. I'm not going to coach you because my respect, you have to respect me. Just like I respect you, respect goes both ways. So.
Right, exactly. The respect goes both ways, and you know, you're taking your time with teaching that person, but you know, it's not just the respect too. It's just like, are you willing to follow the plan? Are you willing? Yeah. And I know, especially with competing. Oh, go ahead. Well,
I was going to say, like, if you're talking about like what can a client, so Big Sir, if you don't follow the plan, he's not going to fucking work with you. He has a day job. He doesn't need the money, right? Me, this is my business. So if you're going to half-ass a plan, I'm still going to make money, right? At the end of the day, like, I need this to survive. I need this for my family. I need this for my loved ones. I have to make money. So as long as you don't disrespect me and you're coachable, at least a little bit, right? If you fuck up the plan 50% of the time, that's fine, but at least you're giving me 50%. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of these lifestyle, you don't understand how many lifestyle clients I have that really fuck up a lot in the beginning, and then that flip, just their switch flips, and now they're on plan 100%. So I try to give people the benefit of the doubt. And on top of that, like if you're gonna pay me and you're gonna pay me every month and you're not following the plan, I don't fucking care. That's not my problem. I'm giving you the plan for success, and I'm still making money at the end of the day. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna can them just to lose money. Like if that was the case, okay. If I would can every client that cheated, I might have like maybe 10 clients right now. Not lying, maybe 10. And my name will get destroyed, because that's another big thing about being a coach in this industry or another. You have to make sure that you have to talk to a client with respect, with care. And the thing is, I do care. Like if you do cheat, why are you cheating? You know, how can we get you not cheating, right? Because I have faith in you that you can do, and this is where you could be, but you're down here right now. So how do we get you from here to here? And I think that's what makes a good coach too. It's not just throwing out the towel after they cheat a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Working with that athlete, working with that person, building them up. How many times did Raven cheat before she won her overall? Every single time. If I would have canned Raven, and I had a lot of reasons to fucking can Raven in the beginning. She's a little shit. A lot of reasons, but I didn't, because I saw potential, right? I saw potential Raven, so I stayed with her. I stayed loyal to Raven. I gave her the fucking time, and now look at her, bro. She just won an overall. You know, she looked the best she's ever looked. So, you know, it's I would have no
tough
clients.
love.
Tough love, dude. Yeah.
Matt gives a lot of tough love.
I try to. I'm actually really nice though, but I try to. You know.
No. I always say like Matt's a big teddy, a soft teddy bear.
Pretty much. Exactly.
But no, yeah, I agree with you 100%. And sometimes, like I said, like, you know, a lot of coaches just get the money just from their customers, just to get that extra cash or whatever, and they don't really believe in that customer, or they don't really provide the value that comes with having a coach. So I guess we can go into the whole business aspect. Now, with running a business, what is your best advice for parents? Because I know you have 2 kids.
Yep.
Some of the athletes have kids. I know Jen has kids. Like it can be really difficult, and a lot of times parents can use their kids as an excuse to not run a business or not do what they got to do. So what would be like your best advice? Because I know you do a lot and you're very busy. So what is the best advice for parents out there starting their own business?
I think that a lot of people, just in general, do the bare minimum and think they're doing the most. So for one, we got to start there. People are fucking lazy, right? Whether you have kids or not, people are very, very, very lazy, and they're not willing to do it, and they do use their kids as crutches, right? I know that if I go down, I have nothing. I have no business. I have no money. I have to do work, right? But also becomes that like balance where you need to understand if you're going to be, you know, if you're going to be running your business, you have to make your kids a priority, right? I think I do a great job, but I'm starting to find myself now working, 100 hours a week. I'm not lying. Like more than that, probably. All day, every day, that's all I do is work. And I try to find time for my kids, and I try to find ways, but it's a fucking balance. And I'm still struggling with this, to be 100% honest. I'll be honest. Like I'm still struggling with, you know, how do I give my kids the right time? You know, how do I give the people that I love the right time? How do I, you know, give my girlfriend the right time? How do I, you know, give all my clients this time? How do you find a balance? There's no balance, right? It's just like, for me personally, that's what I've been struggling with. So as far as advice goes, I think that your kids, as long as you show effort to your kids and you give them, you know, enough, you know, attention, you need to work bust your fucking ass. If you need to stop what you're doing, take your kids to the park for 2-3 hours, come back home and not sleep to get your work done, you got to do that. You got to stop being fucking lazy. So.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Like, not every day is going to be a good day, and not every day you're going to feel good. It's just remembering your vision, remembering your why, because I'm sure your kids are the biggest why, your biggest purpose, why you do this, right? Aside from helping people and transformation, that's your goal. So that's really important, at least for me, like remembering whenever I'm doing something, whenever I feel like shit, I just remember my vision, my goal, my why, which is my son and my family. So that's really important for all of you to understand that your why has to be so strong enough in order for you to keep moving forward and to push through and to achieve those goals. So I love that. Yeah. I know we talked about your business goals. Now, let's see. This is a fun question. So who do you see is your next pro coming up, whether this year or next year? Like, who do you see, not even in your team, like in Sarasota, that has a lot of potential?
There's a lot of people that have a lot of potential. I think Big Serb has a lot of guys that right now, he had one guy, I forgot his name, he did classic physique, he'll turn pro next year, for sure, in my opinion. Me personally, I think that Sebastian's turning pro in 10 weeks. I think if he understands the diet and he understands the discipline, what it takes, he can absolutely turn pro. I think with you, to be honest, we were so close last year that I think if we ever end up getting your ass on stage again, we could absolutely. How old do you know?
32.
32?
I'm going to be 33. I keep forgetting my age.
Crazy.
Guys.
I know, right? So, I think that you're going to easily have potential to turn pro. But I think guarantee ones, I think Natalia's guaranteed next year. I think Brianna's going to have a great shot. I think Raven, if she lives with me one time and I could just literally cook every meal for her, she'd be pro. 100% done. That girl's insane.
She can live with me too.
She might have to move in with Emma to get this pro card, but I think she could do it.
You hear that, Raven?
Yeah, you might have to move in because she's a little shit sometimes. But there's so many people that have great potential. The potential is there in a lot of people, and I think even then when I took Jen on, I knew she had what it takes, especially after the first run, but. I mean, she doesn't have the best structure. She doesn't have the best, she has a wider waist. And look at us, we just got her fucking pro card. So there's no excuse for people. It's, do you want it or do you not want it? So.
Yeah, exactly. And having a coach and a support like you is so important.
Needed.
Because guys, listen, when I started, it was just to get my feet wet. It was just for the experience. I'm not even kidding. And then Matt was like, oh, okay, like I won my first show. And he's like, let's go to nationals. And I was just like, yeah, let's do it. He just like, little by little, he plants the seed in your mind. I love it.
I do it because I'm also realistic, right? I'm not going to say, Philip, bro, let's go to nationals. I'm sorry, dude, but that's not a possibility, right? Like, I'm just not going to sugarcoat it. But if I actually see like a lot of potential in somebody and you're ready, why are we not going to try? Like, let's try. I mean, I've tried multiple times and I got 3 pro cards now. So you have to just try. And a lot of people are scared to try. And a lot of people don't want to push after a show. They get to that certain condition and it's very hard to, which it is hard to keep going. Like,
yeah,
shit's hard.
It is. And you get to know when you stop. Like sometimes you just got to stop and rest and your body at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, with that recovery, it's going to be beneficial for you, for sure. I can't wait to see how I look like when I go back on stage.
Right? Hey, I'm
excited.
You just need to heal your metabolism. That's it. Get your metabolism back.
Yeah, absolutely.
You were not the same the second show than you were the first show. We both know that, and I think that I learned a lot after that. I learned a lot where sometimes you can't, I kind of had the same experience this year with Alana. She hit the conditioning level just like you hit, right? At the first show earlier this year, technically in December for her, but pretty much early this year. And she wanted to start prep soon. You wanted to start prep. You really wanted, we were so close. But sometimes me as a coach, I should have been like, Emma, no, we should rest this season. Let's heal your body up. Let's go into the next year. That way we actually rebound properly. Because that's another thing, man, is a lot of people gain too much weight directly after the show. And you fuck up your metabolism. And I think that's the biggest thing. It's not the hormones. It's not the fucking drugs. It's how fast you go from shredded to 30 pounds overweight or 25 pounds of fat on your body. Your system's done. You're fucked for 9 months. So I think that's a big thing I learned. Not only with you, but with her. So
absolutely. And when you start your first season as an amateur, you learn your lessons. Even as a coach, you're constantly learning a lesson so you can, now I know what to do with the next athlete. Now I know how to improve and become better. So you have to be willing to make mistakes. Like I know my first year I made mistakes. Like after like the third show, I freaking was eating 5-0 donuts and I was like, and gained that weight super fast. But now I know for next season how to execute better.
Exactly.
That's how it works. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, all right. So to wrap it up, this is a great question for you. So what does inherent success mean to you?
What does inherent success mean to me? So, I mean, I think it's just, the journey of, I guess if you just inherent success, right? How it's hard because I know where you want to go with it. And when I hear it, it's just, what do you want to do to become successful? What are you going to be a little bitch and let things in your past, sacrifice like all this that could be? Does that make sense? Like a lot of people dwell on the past. And if you continue to dwell on the past, you're never going to be successful because you're always going to be thinking about that. So inherent success is like whatever happened before. You have to learn how to push past it, persevere, focus on the future, stop dwelling on the past because the past is done, right? Again, I know we're talking about like healing too, and I think everyone takes a different time to heal. Every single person. A lot of, like we talked about before, some people put it inside, and that's what I did. I put it inside. I used it as fuel, right? All the negativity in my whole life that I went through, I use it as fuel, which we didn't really touch base on that, which is cool, which is good. But, a lot of shit that I went through when I was younger.
We're going to do a second episode, guys, just to talk about it.
But, I think, it's just, you have to just keep pushing hard, man, and, just stop doing the bare minimum. And if you want to be successful, and you want, you know, what we are striving to achieve, I'm always gonna think I'm not like doing shit, but you have to stop doing the bare minimum. Do the fucking most. Don't sleep.
I agree.
Don't sleep until you're rich, period. Don't sleep until you have the body you want. Like, too many fat people out there are like not wanting to put in the work. Like, too many people who are broke are not willing to put in the fucking work. The same brokies that are bitching and whining that they're broke are the same people they're serving tables, are the same one asking to leave every day early. Like, if you guys want to be successful at anything you do, you have to be willing to stop doing the bare minimum and do the fucking most. So.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And also, you know, you're not defined by your past. Mm-hmm. So what also inherent success can mean is that you are born with these special gifts. Mm-hmm. You know, you have everything within you to become successful. Exactly. So whatever you were born into, it's not your mm-hmm. fault. Whatever you've gone through in your past, it's not mm-hmm. your fault, but it's your responsibility mm-hmm. for you to take 100% ownership of turning your life around and making a great ending for yourself.
100%. I do think there's a different beast inside of people. They're born with it.
Oh yeah.
They're born with 100%. It, man. I've seen too many people that are just lazy and they're always going to be lazy, and it is what it is. And there's nothing you could do. I don't think there's anything you can do because it's inside. And if they're like that at 30 years old, 40 years old, they're never going to change. I'm sorry. It's just not possible. Like, I think if you're a drug addict and you get out of drugs and you change, absolutely. Like, that's something we didn't really talk about either, which, you know, my entire family are drug addicts. I was fucking poor as shit. Super fucking poor. You know, really poor. And, my mom always found a way, right? She always found a way to do it. My mom, shout out to her, man. She's always found a way to make sure I have food on the table. And she tried her best to give us a good life. And we talked about this earlier, me and her. You know, even though I went through all that stuff, I didn't know what was happening around me. So people ask me like, yeah, you know, I've been through a lot of shit. I could easily use all excuses in the world. Didn't have my dad in my life. Fucking mom was a fucking drug addict. Fucking, you know, I barely had food on the table. I don't even remember that shit. I don't use that shit as a crutch. I don't care. Like, I'm just focusing on the future. And I think a lot of people, man, they just gotta throw that shit out the past and just move on, you know?
I agree 100%. Taking 100% ownership for your life, for your actions, everything that you get to do. Yep. I love it, Matt. We're definitely gonna do an episode number 2.
Yep, definitely. We'll get you on my podcast for sure.
Yeah.
Bodybuilding based, guys, okay? So.
This is definitely a bodybuilding episode.
Yeah, this is definitely.
Well, Matt, thank you so much for being on Inherent Success podcast today. And guys, if you found any value on this episode, make sure to like, share with someone, and subscribe to stay tuned for the next one.
And hit that bell notification so you know when it's coming.
Yes. Thank you.
Later, guys.